nobody's really noticed it yet. If it's under a trailer house, if it's anywhere in there, don't really have a whole lot of smoke. If you do, it's very thin, it's very wispy. Once we start catching some of this wood, we'll kind of close it off and let the smoke build a little bit. Once it does start getting some of this darker smoke to it, you'll see what's called the neutral plane, and it'll suck air in through the bottom, push the smoke out through the top, so it's feeding itself as it's going, whether there's wind or not. Like we were talking earlier, you're going to see that intensity of the fire, and you can control it. Where I was talking about sleeping with your door closed, all doors are rated at 20 minutes, a minimum, through the through different testings before they're put into a home. So that door, I'm not telling you to go set your house on fire and stay behind your door for 20 minutes by any means, but they're rated at 20 minutes. So when you close those doors, let's say it starts in the hallway where the furnace is. If your door's closed at night, your smoke detector's not working, you're going to have a little bit of time barrier, and it's going to help keep that smoke out of that room as well. And so, a lot of people sleep with their doors open. I do it because my dog likes to go in and out. But if you're walking out of that room, smoke alarm goes off, house starts going, and you close that door. Say it's in your room, you fell asleep with a cigarette in your hand, whatever it may be. As of right now, it'll kind of start snuffing itself out like he was talking. That smoke's going to get down in there. There's no oxygen for it to get into. So you can see that neutral plane. We're really starting to suck in through this opening here and push that heat out the top. But as I open it back up, you'll see our flame starts to grow. We start getting a little bit more heat, a little bit more intensity. With this box, this room is not completely sealed, but there's no other opening besides this front one. There's not one on the floor, and there's not an opening here. So this room, eventually you'll see it catch itself on fire just due to the heat burning through the floor. And so it'll kind of show you how this whole box will show you how the flame progresses through different parts of the house. What we'll do now, I'm going to put in some styrofoam cups, and these cups will actually change the smoke color. So where we were talking earlier about whether it was a couch burning, looking at things from an investigative side, even just pulling up on scene, right now is about the time we're going to start getting that call for somebody noticing the fire. Now we still probably have 5 to 10 minutes, depending on where it is in the city, for us to get to. So with that, when we're pulling up on scene, if we see kind of a nice gray white smoke, we're probably thinking, if it's out in the county, we're probably thinking somebody's got a trash pile burning. They're burning off some logs, whatever it may be. Not that big of a concern, but we're still going to check it out. Now, if I pull into the city and I see this, all right, maybe somebody's grill went bad. Something's kind of going on in the backyard. It looks a little bit more like grass than a structure. But when you start adding in various things, like let's say styrofoam cups, you'll see that smoke turn a completely different color. When you open it up, it starts breathing, it starts getting in there. You can see how the smoke is traveling through any little gaps in any of my rooms. It's traveling right out, right up to the ceiling, because that's where heat goes. Heat travels up. So I'm going to cool off the back side of our building here real quick so that we don't lose structural integrity and we can continue on with the way the rest of this is supposed to flow. So now we're starting to come out. This is where I was talking about that intensity. And like I was telling them earlier, if your house is on fire, let's say it starts in your room, it's in your hallway, wherever you're going, close your door. For some reason we had somebody tell us one time that they were taught to open all their doors. Well, that's just going to let any air anywhere, and it's going to let the fire travel. As big as that is right now, I can close that off. We'll wait a few seconds and you can see that the smoke level, we're not really pouring out of here as much as we were. We're going to develop more smoke because those gases aren't actively burning, they're just turning into smoke. which that's all gas or smoke is superheated gases and unburned fuels. So now that we've let it sit for a few seconds, I'm gonna open this up and you can see that we really don't have anything in there. Now if I open it all the way back up, you can see that neutral plane come right back through there. So we actually snuffed it out just by closing that door, and it has a fire starter in that room. So it's more than just your regular couch that's burning. You know, if you put that out, close that up, you're cutting off the oxygen. But if I wanted this fire, let's say I wanted the smoke to come out up here, right? I can open these doors here, and I can start seeing the smoke trying to travel through here. Like I said, this one over here is completely sealed up. There's no, you know, it's not foam sealed or anything. But look at all the smoke that's just crept through the cracks in the walls. If it's in a wall, it's going to creep up the stair space. So we can open this door here. And when we open this door, fire takes the path of least resistance. So if I open that door and open this one, cut off any oxygen flow this way, so it's going to push everything, and you'll see it start to breathe for itself. See, now we're starting to suck air on that bottom side and then pull it back through. So now if we really want to make it look, let's say somebody opens a window or the glass breaks because it broke due to the heat. Now we're in the second room. We're here. Our firefighting actions, we're going to look at this and go, okay, what kind of home do we have? Are we on the second floor? And that there's what we call a flashover, where we had smoke and the gases were ready to burn, and you can see they're actively burning there. So if I wanted to cut this down, I can close that off to there just a little bit so we don't lose our integrity again. Now we're coming through here. Let's say it burns through this floor. Now we're really moving up through the ceiling. So if we've got something like this where we're thinking we're trying to prevent it from moving into this room, let's say this is kind of where we've got victims, that's where they were, or this is an apartment complex. This apartment's already been compromised. We have smoke and fire in that apartment. What we may do, this is a completely hypothetical situation, it really depends on the situation, but we can open up our ceiling, our roof, and then we'll take an axe or a Halligan bar, throw it down through the roof and break that ceiling if we don't already have somebody in there. And that's going to let that really open up and feed itself. It's going to flow from this room, and it'll flow itself all the way up, and you can see the flames starting to come out the top. So even if we go back to closing that one, remember I said this one was completely closed? That gas is hot enough, it's about to start lighting in that room itself. So you can see how just closing the door or opening the window can affect what's going on. Does anybody know what the best way to put out an oven fire is? Say you left the turkey in at Thanksgiving too long. Grandma slipped, fell, or broke her hip, had to take her to the ER, forgot to turn the turkey off. Anybody know what the best way to put it out is? Shut the oven. So we shut that oven. And that fire dies down drastically. The oven actually has a seal a whole lot better than this does right now, especially after it's been burning. It'll actually smother that out. Same with kitchen grease fire. If you've got the lid to the pan, put the lid on the pan. Don't put any water on it, because water's just going to make it splatter and grow. So if we really open this up, you're gonna see this room, say this is 2 bedrooms right above each other. The one below where it's coming out the window is gonna start lighting the gas and the unburned fuels out of this room that has crept up through the wall or through an AC duct or anywhere in there. And again, like I said, that one's pretty well sealed up. So then we'll do what I was talking about earlier, is the roof ventilation. We're going to bring that up through the top. When you do, that's giving that smoke somewhere else to go, but it can't get there if it hasn't gone through there. So we had the flame in the bottom. We can completely close this bottom here and open this one. And there's that flashover starting to come out any crevice, anywhere that it's at. It's going to get fuel. Now we're going to light off through the top. And so that's where we were talking earlier. It's called a thermal layering. You've got your layers of different heats that are in there. And once it breaks all your glass, or if we're starting to kind of go around and break the glass and stuff, we're putting as much water in here as we can. And I can even show you with this extinguisher. This is nothing but water that's in this extinguisher right here. That's all that's in this. If we just hit with little bits, we're not doing a whole lot. So what we'll do, pull this from just a little bit before we lose this floor and it collapses on us before we get to go to extinguishers. So we use a very, it's actually very tactical in what we do. We don't just go in and spray water everywhere because we do want to preserve your property. And we know that those priceless family pictures are not the easiest thing to grab when you're going out, or you may forget where they're at. So we'll come in and we may find that everybody's in the back master bedroom. That's where you were able to get everybody started in the hall. We'll do what's called a vent enter search. So if everything's closed off, y'all are still in the house, the vent enter search will allow us to walk up to, let's say you're in this room right here. I can open this door and pop this window, vent the room, and this is provided we don't have as much smoke as this. We can open that window, go in and get you and get out. And that means we just opened that one area and it's not burning. Now it will now that we have enough heat going again. So now we're gonna let this thing kind of really get burning. I'm gonna open them all up pretty far. And then we'll go over extinguishers. But you can see how different scenarios are going to prompt us to do different things when we get on scene. We may have to come in and just dump our entire tank of water on there. Or we may just come in and just have to use just enough. But again, I'll show you. Water only does so much. Water doesn't do anything but cool. The actual droplets of water will come in and absorb heat. Water's really doing a little bit, but it's taking a whole lot before it's actually getting any knocked down really in there. It's about to burn through anyways. Yeah, we're gonna lose this one. So,
there it goes. There it goes.
So,
well, we didn't save the house.
well, exactly. But for fire extinguishers, if you have something small that you feel you're completely capable of handling, we're not teaching you this so that you try to fight a fire yourself. If it feels out of your hands, or if you don't ever want to touch one, that's fine. It's hard to do with these gloves. It's got the pin, so the saying is pass. Pull, so you're gonna pull the pin, you're gonna grab this, aim, squeeze this handle here, it's gonna squeeze down and it's gonna hit this one. And then you're going to sweep.
Wow.
And like I showed you, the water didn't really do a whole lot to it, but the chemicals that are within this, you just saw how easy that was, and that's still about half full. So if it's something that you kind of feel comfortable with, and you know it's in your own home, I suggest definitely having an extinguisher in every home. Because if it's something like that, it can stop us from having to come, or it can give you enough time to get out if it's going to be super hot to do that again. But even if it does, we can come back in. And you're going to see us, I'm going to save a little bit of this. You're going to see us when we come into your house or any structure. You're going to see us start throwing things outside. We're going to take the burning things and remove them from the environment. We're going to take that couch, we're going to take those chairs, and anything that's like super valuable. Let's say you got a big bed in the middle of the room. If it's anything that we deem, obviously all of your stuff is valuable, but pictures, things that are kind of irreplaceable, we will take everything we can and pile it into the middle of a room and put a tarp over it so that we reduce as much water damage that we can to it. And so we'll go in and we do what's called salvage and overhaul, and we'll actually tear things apart, knock it down, and come back through and hit it with water. Or a couple of our trucks have, all of our trucks have the capability to use foam. It takes a little bit more of a process, but if it's something that's going to keep burning for a while, if we don't use it, we'll definitely use it to, we do it more in this stage than we do our actual firefighting operations. But now I just have a smoldering concrete jump.
So Levi,
Yes, sir.
if water doesn't do that much to put out a fire, why are y'all hooking up the fire hydrants rather than carrying truckloads of chemical?
So that chemical is, the way we do that, and the reason we do that is a lot of science, like Captain Craig was talking in, was a lot of the science behind these things, and the price of the chemical versus the problems with it versus the penetrating abilities of it. It doesn't have much penetrating ability. So, but if we start using a foam, it'll start getting in there a lot deeper. But the cost of it, water is a whole lot cheaper than those chemicals. Water will put out a fire. Is it the most effective? Depends on what you're dealing with. If I've got any kind of fuels in a car fire, aircraft crashes, if I've got, let's say your garage caught fire when you were working on your mower or whatever, depending on what I've got, that's what I'm going to use for chemicals. Excuse me. So in this case, this is just what we call a Class A fire. Your woods, your things that aren't going to really pose much of a hazard. And that's what that was. That was the Class ABC extinguisher. So it can put out Class A, Class B, and Class C. And the water is a little bit easier for us to find a resource for, because if that was an actual full-sized house, it's going to take a lot more of that chemical to do, and it's going to get everywhere in your house. It's going to get in your ducts, it's going to get in everything. If it's water, I may be able to come in and hit your room with just a little bit of water, and that's going to be out. You might have to replace your carpet and a few pieces of sheetrock versus your ducts, having everything cleared out. So that's why we use the water a little bit more, and we carry extinguishers on the trucks if we do show up and the kids are out playing in the backyard and they set the wood pile on fire. It's a little bit easier. We're not going to come back there and soak every piece of wood in the dead of winter for you. So, does anybody have any questions for me?